On a bright but chilly morning in the heart of the city's financial district, where glass towers clawed at the clouds and luxury cars glided across spotless streets, a small, exhausted girl pushed open the grand golden doors of Monarch Crest Bank. Her name was Arya Nolan, and in her trembling hands she held a worn-out bank card like it was the final thread keeping her world from collapsing. Sunlight poured through the soaring windows, glittering off polished marble floors. But even in all that brightness, Arya looked like a shadow, fragile, scared, completely out of place. As she stepped forward, dozens of heads turned, not in compassion, but in confusion, judgment, and a little discomfort. All she wanted was simple. She wanted to check her balance. If you believe kindness can change someone's life, and if you stand for second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Warriors. Your support brings more light into a world that desperately needs it. Arya's journey to that bank didn't start with bravery. It began with desperation. She had spent 2 nights wandering the city with nothing but a few coins in her pocket. Her gray shirt was torn, her jeans too big for her tiny frame, and her dusty hair stuck to her forehead. Her mother, before she passed away, had always told her to keep the little white bank card safe. Arya had guarded it for years, never knowing if it meant anything at all. But today, hungry, shivering, and ignored by strangers on the sidewalk, she finally gathered the strength to find out if her mother had left her a miracle or nothing at all. Monarch Crest Bank buzzed with energy Arya had never seen. Screens flashing stock numbers, employees in sharp suits rushing by with files and lattes, phones ringing nonstop. The place smelled like power. And at the center of this world sat Maxwell Grant, one of the city's most feared investment moguls. Confident, wealthy, untouchable. His loud laughter echoed across the marble lobby as he spoke with his advisors. But all that noise faded when he noticed her. Arya stood at the customer desk, pushing her little card forward with trembling fingers. The banker, Elena Rohr, looked startled at the sight of the girl's condition. People whispered, some concerned but most judgmental. Arya's voice was barely a whisper as she explained what she needed. Elena offered a soft, reassuring smile, and, knowing the card looked old, guided her toward Maxwell's private terminal, which had access to decades-old archives. Arya didn't understand any of this. She simply followed, afraid yet hopeful. Maxwell leaned back, amused. A billionaire checking the balance of a homeless child? It seemed like a joke, until it wasn't. He inserted the faded card into the system. And then, the entire room shifted. Maxwell's smirk vanished. His eyes narrowed. He leaned forward as if the numbers might change if he stared hard enough. His advisors froze beside him, their faces draining of color. Elena held her breath. Because the balance was not empty. It was not small. It was enormous, far beyond anything Maxwell expected. Years ago, Arya's mother had cared for a gentle old entrepreneur named Victor Hale, a man who had no children of his own. Grateful for her kindness during his final months, he created a trust fund for Arya, without her mother ever knowing the size or future potential. The investments grew quietly year after year, untouched, waiting for the moment Arya would need them most. And that moment was now. Maxwell sat frozen, realizing the little girl he had nearly dismissed had more money in her name than many of his elite clients. A fortune powerful enough to rewrite her entire life. For the first time in years, Maxwell felt humbled. He stood slowly, looking at Arya not with mockery, but with genuine respect. Arya stared up at him, confused, not understanding the massive number on the screen. Elena knelt beside her, explaining softly what it all meant. As the truth washed over Arya, her lips trembled. Tears filled her tired eyes. She wasn't alone anymore. She wasn't helpless. Her mother had left her something far greater than she ever imagined: security, hope, and a future. The bank fell silent as people realized what they had witnessed. Maxwell, known for his ego, gently helped Arya gather her things. He brought her water, ordered food for her, and promised his top legal team would protect her assets until a proper guardian could be appointed. Arya nodded quietly, overwhelmed, still gripping the card that had just transformed her life. Outside, sunlight shimmered through the towering windows, but this time the world didn't feel cold or cruel. For the first time in years, Arya stepped into the daylight with a small, genuine smile. Her life was no longer defined by fear. It was defined by possibility. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Warriors. Your engagement helps these stories reach more people who need hope. Before you go, tell us in the comments. What would you do if you discovered a miracle when you least expected it? Sometimes, the greatest gifts come from people who loved us quietly and leave behind light that guides us long after they're gone. And that day, Arya carried her mother's gift close to her heart, knowing her world had finally changed.